Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, Brian's Life. So I've mentioned in the other video a little bit of basic on the cost of the Philippines. Today what I want to do is help you guys out to get a better understanding. We're just going to focus on rent, okay? And this is going to be one of your the biggest expense while you're there. So I want to share a few secrets, a few little hints, just to give you a better step on what you want to do about your rent and how to find them, etc. So let's dive right into it now. Assuming you're there, and this is the best way of doing it. Just you're going to be paying a little bit more when you first get there because it's hard to find your perfect spot. So you've got something furnished, you've got internet, you've got everything going, and you're getting settled. Now you really want to start taking some time. What kind of lifestyle do you want? Do you want to be right in the city? Do you want to be right where the tourists are? Do you want to be more remote? Do you want to be farmland? One of the issues with finding rent there is it's not so simple to find it online. And the ones that are dedicated just for that online, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be through the roof. Well, I shouldn't say through the roof, but significantly a lot more expensive, okay, than you can find in person. And there's free agents there. So I'm going to give you an example. I found one online on several different little things, and they were, I told it was a few years back, but I'm going to assume it somewhere around 17,000. I thought, oh, this is great. And then I found the actual agent that was listing it. It was 10,000, okay? So that just gives you an idea. Big difference. So what I would suggest though is you join Facebook groups. Even the buy and sell on Facebook groups sometimes is a good, even if there's nothing else. There'll be, if, let's say for example Cebu, okay, you want to go to Cebu, well, that's going to be a long list of Facebook groups you can join there. So they will have designated apartment for sale, for rent, just for sale. Join Facebook groups. Start getting an idea. Start summarizing price averages, okay? So now like I said, you also got to figure out what area you kind of want to be in. That'll determine. So whatever area that you're thinking you want to be, again, start joining the Facebook groups. Go to that direction. Find what you can. It's pretty easy to find wherever major destination is. You're going to find something. Get it all furnished. Get everything going. Now you got to figure out, are you thinking long term or only a few months? Okay, a few months, then there's nothing to change, okay? Be happy where you're at. If you're looking for long term, now you want to find the best scenario, the best price. And this is where I want to help you out with, okay? So once you've joined these groups, you can start making contact and reaching out, because I find most of my places that I found was never through online. It was literally going on my bike, finding, and it's not what you know, it's who you know 100%. Everybody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. Oh, that's something. Rent, okay? So it doesn't hurt. You're having a meal in a restaurant. Just say, hey, I'm happen to look for this type of style, this type of house. Do you happen to know anybody? Don't be afraid to ask, even in the market, go, Another thing you can do is if you're in a smaller barangay, go to the barangay captain. They know everything that's going around in the town. These are all little things that, that can help, right? So now you start to narrow it down, you're getting an idea, you start looking at a few, you're starting to realizing, okay, you already know yourself, this is going to be the average price range and stuff. Now, you're going to, whatever area you're in, one of the things I recommend highly is, again, take your time, but you also got to really realize how long do you want to be there. You want to be there for a long term, okay? Anything for, I consider long term more than a couple of years, okay? You may want to move to a definite destination or whatever, not too far away, but let's just say anything past a couple of years you're comfortable with. Do you want furnished, semi-furnished, unfurnished? Okay, semi-furnished usually means a bed and maybe a fridge or something like that, and a couple, maybe a kitchen table. Very, very, very basic, fully furnished. It's a no-brainer. I lean towards the unfurnished. Now, I'll give you why. Here's a few reasons why. I like doing a lot of cooking. I like a bigger fridge. Normally the ones that come with them is a very small fridge. An older fridge as well. An older fridge will cost you more power. I actually prefer a fridge that's got no freezer in it, but that's more difficult to find. I also like my oven. It's very hard, unless you go into more the higher end, will have an oven. I like cooking, so I like my oven. Okay, I like a comfortable bed, so I like to pick up my own mattress. A good comfortable mattress for what I like. The firm ones, they're about 10,000 pesos, a couple $100, but over 200. So these are, a good fridge for me is maybe 30,000 pesos. A decent stove I got there, 12,000 pesos. It's got electric buttons to start the flames, and it's got 4 burner, and it's beautiful, right? So you start realizing, okay, well, that's going to cost maybe, upwards of 100,000 pesos if you want the nice TV, you want the bed, you want the blah blah blah. But you're looking at rent. Here's where it gets significantly different. I find places that are around 15, maybe 17,000 pesos a month, fully furnished. You get it for unfurnished for 10,000, maybe 8, 9, somewhere around there. That's a big difference. If you're going to be there for more than a year, you're making money after that. You're making money after about a year, give or take, again, depending. So that's something you really want to, now, take your time. Don't rush into this. I've seen a lot of people thinking, this is heaven, this is beautiful, and, a few months, the honeymoon wears off, either for the whole country, they don't want to be there, or for the area. So take your time. I can't stress that enough. Just take your time. Then when you've gotten to that point, you say, no, I've taken my time, I'm going to be here. When you look at a place that you are interested in, there again, take a little bit of time. Go there in the evening, go there at lunchtime, go there early in the morning, go there 2 o'clock in the morning. I can tell you a little quick story here. I found a great place, literally on the beach, a little kubo that was comfortable. I mean, there's a few other things that have built up and fixed up a little bit, but I think it was like 200,000 pesos to buy, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness. I mean, I can't own the land as a foreigner, but that's a different topic. But I was thinking, oh heck, this is a no-brainer. I'm going to buy it. So go ahead, sleep there. Let's be comfortable. Well, it turns out the people right behind me, they owned a stall in the market, and they would every 3 o'clock in the morning butcher a pig getting ready for the market. Now, I don't know if anybody knows what kind of sound a butchered pig makes, but it's loud. And this was consistently every morning at 3 o'clock in the morning. So, perfect example. Now, in the daytime, it's heaven. It's paradise. But at 3 in the morning, it's definitely not, okay? So you want to, again, a really good solid piece of advice. When you look at this area, walk around the neighborhood. Another thing I look for is, you can't get away from dogs, okay? Dogs are going to be all over the place. However, again, I don't like a lot of air conditioning. I like my windows open during the night and everything else. So I look for, I shouldn't say I don't mind the dogs or whatever, they bark, but a free dog that's walking around is much better than a dog that's on a cage or a short chain. Because the difference is the ones that are on a short chain or in a cage, they never are let out or off that chain. So they're suffering, okay? When they bark, you can just hear barking and whining and crying. That can last for 40 minutes, 2 hours, sometimes only 10 or 15 minutes, but happens consistently, and it happens pretty much every night. Anything that walks by, they're crying for attention, they're barking. If I see that, I don't rent. I can't handle it. That's a noise that just drives me nuts. It gets underneath my skin. I feel so bad. I hear that suffering, that whining. If it was free and there's a dog fight and there's a little bit of aggression, it goes away within 5-10 minutes. It's a different thing. That doesn't happen every night. So that's a really, for me personally, that's an important thing. And you don't get to see that unless you take your time and walk around the neighborhood. You kind of, I don't spy on people, but I'd like to, look over, okay, where do I see anything, whatever. Hence why I also go there several times, different time frames before I make a commitment, okay. Another thing you can do to save yourself some money or whatever is when you talk to the owner, you let them know long term. Now, a lot of owners think long term is only a few months, okay, because a lot of expats only go there for a few months, go back home. If you're really talking about living there long term, specify, I mean long term. I want to call this my home. I'm going to be living here. I'm keeping it year round kind of thing. So I'd like long-term price, okay? So that's another thing. Now, I actually got as far as looking at different resorts for long-term. Like, this is not in the real tourist area, but if you happen to, and some of them offer some pretty good deals. So even if they're normal price, if you're okay with a little studio and stuff like that, if they're normal prices, whatever it is, okay? But my point I'm trying to make is, if you think that this is somewhere you could be happy with and willing to pay a little bit more because it's got the good internet, it's got the pool, it's close to a beach, it's not super crowded, you're okay with this little studio and whatever, recommend talking to the actual owner, okay? Because when you talk to the staff management, they're used to, if it's like 1,000 or 1,500 a night, they'll just tell you, well, you could tell them till you're blue in the face. Long term, yeah, 1,000, 1,500 a night, because that's what they're told, okay? So if you get a chance, talk to the owner and explain, like, I'm actually looking at this, and a lot of times you can make some significant deals on that as well, okay? Little trick here, but the reason why I bring that up, because that's something I myself look at, and if the opportunity comes up, I would take that. If it was, for example, there's some places that are I know a couple places that big pool, nice thing, and I think their price was 2,100 pesos a night. But if you do the math on that over a month, but if you rented by the month, it brought it right down to 20,000 pesos. If you rented for 6 months, it brought it down to 17,000 pesos. Now this was in a very touristy area, so they already know the concept of negotiating for long term. I'm talking more about the ones that, like, I do a lot of road trips. I just go and random places, and hence I've learned that you really want to get a hold of the owner, but always be polite, respectful. Don't say, like, be rude. I just want to get a hold of the owner, I don't want to talk to you. No, I'm not saying that, but do your best to get actually a hold of the owner. And what I would end up doing is, so you're not insulting nobody, you're just simply saying, I prefer talking to the owner so I'm comfortable that we have a working relationship, so I know what the owner's like if I'm going to call this my home. Something like that. And then you can discuss it with them and see if you can get a much better rate. As far as also another little thing I would advise, if they want a 1-year contract, I don't mind signing a 1-year contract if everything in my mind that I'm looking at and they're telling me is what it is. I'd be okay, but you never know. So when they want a 1-year contract, I personally say no, but with respect, I say I will willing to do that if everything you're telling me, this, it's quiet at night, it's blah, 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 after I've lived here for 30 days. If everything is what it is, oh, sure, I'll sign a 1-year contract. But just, keys in my hand, and don't even my first night spent without spending a first night there already, and 1 year, I personally avoid those unless it's a smoking deal and you tell yourself, well, if I can't like it or whatever, don't like it, and it's only a few months, and then the rest I'll take my loss and pay for it because it's just a fantastic place, I could, whatever, okay? But personal recommendation is, usually they're very okay and understanding if you say, I will do that after I've been here for a month, and make sure it's okay. So yeah, feel free to drop a question down if you need something a little bit more specific. Again, I'm trying to make this kind of broad spectrum, but a little bit more detailed right onto your rent here, because that is going to be your biggest expense, of course. And like I said, a few key things there: taking your time walking around the area, checking out the area, the neighbors, of course, and the sunlight even. Like, that's another thing too, it depends the heat of the day. Where's it the most hot? Obviously in the middle of the afternoon, but where is that? Is that on your bedroom window? Is it in the living room window? Or is it on any kind of, like, whatever? These are little things that can make a difference as well, to see if this is going to be right for you. And it's actually also nice just to see the neighbors, just sometimes you get some that are really friendly and nice, and it's kind of nice to know that right off the bat. So again, hope this helps you out, a little bit of a better idea. Like I said, join the Facebook groups, take your time, make sure you check out the area, see if you really, really want to be there. If you haven't lived in the Philippines or in Asia or nothing, you're coming straight from North America, I would almost personally recommend get something furnished, don't make a lot of commitments, and for the first year, and really go through all the seasons, make sure the honeymoon is well over before you really commit, saying, hey, this is my life, this is where I'm going to be. So guys, hey, I appreciate you watching. Would love it if you hit the like button and follow along, and by all means, leave a comment, leave a question if there's anything I can answer directly with. All right, everybody, have a great day and take care.